I am very invested in the Rippaverse story because, I greatly admire what Eric July is doing with his Rippaverse comics. I think this is brilliant. I think his business model is genius. I really do. Of course you've got the lunatics, the Looney Tunes that are just woke, radical losers that are out there, the blue hairs, the shills that for whatever bizarre reasons, they, on the one hand, will die on a hill to defend DC and Marvel comics no matter what they do, even though they're giant corporations that pay their writers like dog shit and their artists like dog shit and treat them like crap and piss all over the fans. They'll defend them, the corporate overlords, on the one hand, but they'll attack an independent creator who launched his own business with his own money, whose only metric of success or failure is sales. Hello. Eric July is, for about 5 reasons, the absolute symbol of everything they must destroy if they are to preserve the delusion of their own success. So this is on the Geeks and Gamers website. And by the way, hat tip to Geeks and Gamers. They don't censor anything. If you want to rag on one of their friends, go for it. Have at it. So this was a post on the Geeks and Gamers about Eric July. Quote, I don't know if this community is ready to talk about the elephant in the room, but Rippaverse wasn't and isn't ready for prime time. Eric has no prior experience making comics, and thus far has shown no exceptional ability to do so outside of exploiting business acquaintances and creating a hype machine. The longer we delay this discussion, the more of a negative impact this entire situation is going to have on this entire community. Close quote. I'm going to stop there for just a second. So he says Eric has no prior experience making comics. First of all, what the hell does that matter? Any veteran filmmaker will tell you. Jason Blum, the founder of Blumhouse Studios, he was in an interview with Ben Shapiro, of all people. And Ben asked him, if you're a filmmaker, which school should you go to? And Jason Blum's answer was, forget about that. Pick up your iPhone. Start making films. If all you can do is make a film in your living room, make a film in your living room. There's never been a better time. His point is learn by doing. That's how great filmmakers became great filmmakers, not by getting some degree. Eric July does not need prior experience to become a comic book writer and creator. He is a comic book writer and creator. You know why? Because he wrote a comic book, he created it, he put it out there, and he sold it. And he found an audience for it. He is a comic book artist. He's a comic book writer and creator. Full stop. Full stop. Anyhow, he says, thus far has shown no exceptional ability. I've been quite candid on this channel that I feel that some of his writing style needs work. I've been honest about that. But let me just explain something. I am seeing the exact opposite of exceptional ability in literally every modern comic book, every modern comic book movie. Let me explain that sitting through Blue Beetle, The Flash, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, The Marvels, sitting through all this Secret Invasion, She-Hulk, let me explain to you, that is the exact opposite of exceptional ability. That is what I call stupid people. So believe me when I tell you that while I feel that Eric has some growth to do as a writer, which is natural, it's his first project, Isom is about 1,000 times better than anything I've seen made on a $200 million budget. So, but that being said, at this point in the post, I'm not totally unsympathetic to at least the critique if I don't totally agree. But let's move on. Open quote. Let's be straight up here. Though well-meaning, the FNT, that is Friday Night Tights crew, are not creators, and they never claim to be. They don't draw, they don't write, they are not, that's not true of all of them, some of them do. They are fantastic critics and personable personalities. I don't say this as a slight, they are all top-tier talents who could be utilized to push a quality product and be a force in the culture war for good. Rippaverse ain't it. I'm a big fan of Rippa's when he's in his element. When he's discussing, sorry, I didn't mean to, I'm not trying to bag on this poster. I'm not going to, he's not an SJW blue hair, but I do kind of, I'll reserve my comments. When he's discussing politics, when he's rallying his fans, when he's a guest on these shows, and I'm going to be frank here, and even reserved, he is a terrible businessman. He is a terrible comic creator. Close quote. This is as far as I read before I actually bookmarked this to read on the stream. I actually haven't read beyond this point, but I'll just tell you, I read that. I'm like, okay, we're talking about this on the Captain's Cast. The man invested $200,000 of his own money. Okay. In the first hour that he went live with his first comic book ever, isom #1, just hoping and praying that he would at least make his money back, if not eke out a profit, the man had recouped his entire investment. I know because I was watching live when it started. Within 1 hour, he had made his money back. Within 12 hours, he was almost at $1 million. Within 24 hours, he was a millionaire. $1 million in sales revenue. Let me explain something to this poster. Have you ever seen the show Shark Tank? What is the first thing that any of the sharks ask anyone? It doesn't matter how good your idea is. It does not matter how good your idea is. What is the first question they ask? What are your sales? What are your sales number? That is the question that business people always want to know, because that, as they say, is the bottom line. What are your sales? Any business that is able to collect $1 million in sales revenue, especially if that revenue represents a 10 times return on your investment startup costs, is a success. However, in the 2 or 3 months that he ran that campaign, he made a total of $3.7 million. What is that? 10x is considered extraordinary success, right? 10 times. So 3.7. This is how bad I am at math, folks. 3,700,000 divided by 200,000. That was his investment. That's an 18 times return on his money. 18 times return on his money. Excuse me. Like, could you show me where that is at the bottom of the heap as business people go? I'm just saying, okay? Let's not mince words. Let's be frank here. I mean, this is a ludicrous statement, okay? This is a ludicrous take. No, this is not a bad take. This is ludicrous. Like, absolutely off your nut stupid. I'm just being frank and even reserved. I don't even care even if it's a bad product. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, but even if it were, it's like, well, he's a hell of a salesman. You know what I mean? I got a $3.7 million return selling a book about sand in the desert. You know what I mean? So anyway, open quote. He's cheap. He doesn't cheap. He invested $200,000 of his own money. Dude, with a $200 million budget, multiple reshoots, and all the wealth and power of the Disney Corporation, they can't produce one movie that makes a profit in 2023 at Disney. Who is a terrible businessman and who isn't, sir? Or Madam Marit. Open quote. He's cheap. He doesn't respect the art form. He's an absolute control freak. Hello, he's a business owner. That you have got to be a control freak if you run a business. That's necessary. That's people who do not understand how to run a business. They always call business people control freaks. Directors. Dude, do you know what's not a control freak? The director of the Marvels. That's not a control freak. Sorry. Resuming with the quote. He's obsessed with dominating and controlling the entire platform. What? And he doesn't care about the other creators he's going to trample in his crusade to own the comics business. I could respect this if he were good at what he did. You would respect that he's a control freak, dominating, controlling the platform, and doesn't care, wants to trample other creatives. You would respect that if he were a success. But anyway, open quote, if he artfully found cheap and top-tier artists who produce amazing art for pennies, if he was creating an empire that made a lot of money and made lots of talented people money, if he were rising everyone else up, employing Az and Disparu as writers, buried the axe with EVS, that would be Ethan Van Sciver of Cyberfrog, and made art through adversity. Close quote. Quick note, Eric July doesn't owe anyone anything, sir. He doesn't. Eric July does not owe anyone a living. You know what I mean? Like, that's none of your business. That being said, I disagree. I disagree that he's not helping people, but he doesn't owe them anything. All he owes is his customers. He owes his customers a quality product and quality service. That's it. Open quote. This entire scene is suffering because of Rippa's allyship with geeks and gamers. The blatant pandering of Az, that would be heel versus babyface, listening to Jeremy and Rippa always talking about, quote, friendship and crap. This is a product. This is a business. You know who else had a lot of friends on set? Kathleen Kennedy. Are you're fucking comparing him to, I haven't read this far, folks, so this is new to me. You're comparing him to Kathleen Kennedy? Like, the hell, bro? Resuming quote. Do we care about art? Do we care about good stories? Do we care about the little guy busting their ass to create the bits and pieces of these productions to make great things? Or does the only thing that matter is that we and our friends are making money? Was this all just paper thing and paper? I don't know what that means. And grandstanding and grifting to exploit an audience? No. There was a time when Rippa genuinely thought he was going to create a great comic. His friends put their faith in him, as friends should do, but many of us saw this coming from the start. Everyone's a critic. Creating movies, comics, video games is a different beast entirely. In fact, one could argue that being a good YouTuber, having a great personality, and being influential is counterproductive to locking oneself in a cave for decades to set good at these disciplines. This whole situation is a bummer. We want to positively impact the culture war. We want to make this space great again. We're going to make this space great again with amazing entertainment IPs. I agree with that. We want to succeed with our friends. The cold reality is that these realm isn't easy, and we have to be more careful with how we approach big endeavors. It's easy for G&G and the F&T crew to promote their friends and ask their fans to put their hard-earned money into these ventures. It doesn't cost them anything. But these gambles burn the goodwill of the fellowship. They do damage to the cause of creating quality content that can go the distance. You know, close quote for a second. I mean, listen, every consumer of the F&T and G&G crowd, their content, it's, you know, he's entitled to this reaction. He's entitled to feel he's being gypped. If this guy feels he's being gypped, he's entitled to that. But it's not for him to decide whether the goodwill of the fellowship has been burned. The fellowship decides that. If a majority of people feel that Eric July is ripping them off and not providing a good comic, the market will bear that out. And by the way, Eric July would be fine with that. He is fine with that. He's a self-described anarcho-capitalist. He understands that the marketplace of sales will be his judge and jury. He's fine with that deal. And so am I, by the way. Resuming quote, a lot of what happened was rookie mistakes. You can't fault them. But here's where I do take issue with Rippa, Geeks and Gamers, and the Friday Night Tights crew in regards to creating custom creations. They never try to utilize their talent pool. They never bring on fans or content creators to do writing, never try to find that diamond in the rough to create something great. They gatekeep and blacklist others. Close quote for a second. Blacklist? They don't blacklist anyone. They are absolutely open about what they like and don't like. They're open about who they associate with and who they refuse to associate with. They're entitled to that. They never attack other channels. They will say, I don't like that channel, I don't watch it, but they do not make reaction videos unless they are personally attacked. That's the exception. If they are attacked, they will sometimes, most of the time, no, but they will sometimes respond to that. But they never say, I don't like this channel, stop going to that channel. I've never heard one of them. I've never heard one of them say anything like that. They do not blacklist anyone. That's bullshit, wacko leftist crap. They don't do that. I've never seen that. So that's crap. Open quote. And these ventures become the very same monopolistic type. How is he? He's not monopolizing anything. No one is stopping you, sir, from selling a comic book. Ethan Van Sciver sells Cyberfrog. Graham Nolan is selling his own comic book series, The Ghosts of Matacum Key. He's doing great with that. Razor Fist is doing his own series of pulp novels. Rippa is not stopping any of those creators from creating those things. Okay? You don't seem to understand what a monopoly is, sir. A monopoly is what Disney is doing by colluding with the state and other corporations to remove the dislike button from YouTube, to get channels struck and taken down for frivolous reasons, to remove disinformation from Twitter. Those are the people that are creating a monopoly, sir. Rippa, Geeks and Gamers, and Friday Night Tights are not, they do not, frankly, they don't have the power, and they have said that. We don't have the power. We can't take away people's ability. They could go wherever they want. They've never advocated for anything otherwise. They openly admit that they are retarded. They openly admit it. They're retarded people. You shouldn't listen to them. They're bad people to take life advice from. They've all said that. And you know what? They're right. You shouldn't be taking life advice from me either. I'm a total screw up. But this channel is the one thing the captain's got right this last year. So like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. But anyway, let's close it out. Open quote. Again, I don't think this was fully done with malice or purely out of greed, but this is the same story that happened with Star Wars. Strange to see these guys cover the destruction of one medium for so many years while seemingly learning nothing from it. Nepotism, hubris, greed, jealousy, everything but hard-earned talent doing their craft for the fans and the love of the genre, close quote. Ill-Tempered Tuna is the name of the account on Geeks and Gamers. Listen, they are totally entitled to that opinion. I think it's a pile of crap. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I think this is a kind of envy. I think it's unbecoming. There's about 10 false statements in there, like just provably false statements in there. So right off the bat, but I'm just going to tell you my overall reaction to this. This is a bullshit leftist argument. This is a bullshit leftist argument. If Rippa is selling a product that is a swindle, then the market will correct that, because Rippa does not have the power, nor would he seek it. That would be Eric July. He does not have the power, nor would he seek the power to censor, block, ban, or otherwise hinder anyone else in the creation of their business, their art, or their YouTube channels, or whatever it may be. Never has he or anyone else in this sphere argued for that. Never have they engaged in it that I have seen. So they are not stopping anyone from doing their thing. And in that environment, the market will be their judge and their jury. And if they are selling an inferior product, their business will not succeed. What more do you want, sir? What more do you want? That is the fairest arrangement you can get in society. By the way, that is the reason leftists hate capitalism. That is why they hate it. Because they can't control it. The real control freaks are people making these kinds of arguments, in my view. These are the real control freaks, not Rippa. Rippa is successful, and you've got some kind of issue with that, Mr. Tuna. Kara says, I wish I could fail at business as quickly as Eric July. Am I right or am I right? Or am I right? Am I right? Oh, he's a terrible, but he made $3 million, he made almost $4 million in 60 days. Like, give me a break on a $200,000 investment. Dude, the most successful pitchers that I've seen on Shark Tank have never been able to cite success like that. Like literally when Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, is he's salivating over the opportunity, and he's trying to screw them out of all their profits with some ridiculous, I'll own 100% of the company and I'll pay you a royalty. It's always something like that. When he's salivating, it's like, oh, we've gotten a 5 times return on our sales in like the last year. Oh, I'll buy that. Star Fury says, people have self-determination and choose to buy or not buy. We are not NPC. That's the other thing, Star Fury. There's such a condescension toward us in that post. I'm glad you brought that up. Like, I am fully capable of making my voice heard if I feel. I did a review. There is a video on this channel reviewing Eric July's isom #1. Check it out. It's not all sunshine and bunnies. It's mostly positive, but I gave my honest critique. So I don't need ill-tempered tuna speaking for me. None of us do. We are fans. We are independent thinkers. Again, that's a bullshit left-wing thing. I'm going to tell you that, like, before I discovered Critical Drinker and then discovered Nerdrotic and all the others, I had no clue how to do a podcast. You wouldn't believe the weird things I tried. Dude, this microphone, I owned this for 2 years and it did nothing. It did nothing. I at the time I have a techie friend who he's really good with this stuff, audio equipment and stuff. He told me, get a Shure microphone and get all this stuff. I spent like $800 on it. And which, I did not need to spend that much, but at the time I did. And this microphone sat on my desk doing nothing for like 2 years, okay? Then I discovered Critical Drinker at kind of a low point. And at the time, I would say I was sort of half blue-pilled, I knew that I did not like a lot of what was going on, but I felt kind of alone. I felt like, what they're doing to Luke Skywalker is not right. So then I find Critical Drinker, and then he did live streams with Gary, and I was like, who's this guy? He sounds like, he sounds like a nerd, which I'm a nerd, but how does this guy have a following? I don't mean that offensively, okay? But I really was like, if this guy sounds like an everyday dude, that would be Gary from Nerdrotic. But I liked what he was saying, so I started listening to him, and sadly, Rush passed away, and I didn't have much, and I didn't really listen to anything else, and so I started listening to it. Dude, I found Friday Night Tights. I found all this stuff. I had never heard of a live stream before. I did not know that people sat on this platform for 8 hours. I didn't know that that was a thing, folks. And when I first discovered this concept, I thought, who the hell would listen to a live stream for 3 hours? Only a psycho would do that. But then I became a psycho. And I was like, I love this stuff. Now, why do I tell you all this? I tell you all this because I could look at the success of Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic and Geeks and Gamers with envy. And let's be real, I do envy their success and what they've built. I'm trying to build something similar. But I also look at it and I'm like, I'm grateful. If they did not exist, I would never have found my thing. Okay, because by listening to all these guys, I suddenly, it was like I understood. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And that's how Swords and Starships was born, because I suddenly understood this is what the thesis of what I want to get at is. I want to talk about the movies I like. This is a format that sounds fun and interesting. I love this idea. I've always had filmmaking aspirations as well. So the whole idea of camera and everything is cool. I like that. I've always wanted to do that. I've always believed I had the capability to do it. I just didn't have the courage. They gave me the courage. They gave me a model. When I saw what Rippaverse did, I was like, wow, I could do that. This is how it could be done. Folks, why I'm saying that is because when you envy and resent people, it blinds you to the gift that they are giving you. Eric July, with what he's done with the Rippaverse, Gary at Nerdrotic, Ryan Kinnell, The Quartering, Baggage Claim, Critical Drinker, Jeremy Geeks and Gamers, Jay Drunk 3PO. I'm just naming all the ones I know of. Nick Ricada, Yellow Flash, Midnight's Edge, Paul Chatto. I mean, all these different channels, they were an education. They were a university I was attending without even knowing it. They taught me everything I needed to know about what I actually wanted to do. And if they did not exist, I would still be floundering around with stupid 7-minute diaries on anchor.fm. So my point is, thank you. Thank you to the Friday Night Tights Fellowship. You gave me a gift beyond all price, and for that, you have my sincere respect, gratitude, and a captain's salute. It is I who owe them, not the other way around, and that is my deepest, sincerest reply to ill-tempered tuna, or whatever the frack he's called. That is my reply. Rather than look at it as they owe you something, look at it as you owe them a debt of gratitude for showing you a path. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you loved this clip. Please like and subscribe. And did you know you can join us live every Sunday on the Captain's Cast live show? That's at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, every Sunday. You can join me and the rest of the crew in the live chat as we set sail for more amazing adventures in entertainment, film, video games, etc. And until next time, my dear sailors and starnauts, this is Captain Garrett saying, I will see you out there.